everyone. This is part 2 of the final exam question and answer. We're going to be answering question 2, which is asking, how would you use reading time and reading text as models to improve students' oral and written expression? So, I think one example, or one great example that my teacher gave us, was using predictable books and pattern books. So these books kind of have like the same pattern ongoing over and over and over again throughout the entire story. And you might see these types of books like Brown Bear, or If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So it's like the pattern is Brown Bear, what do you see? And then basically the answer gets repeated back as, I see a flamingo staring at me. Something like that. So that would be Brown Bear. The If You Give a Mouse a Cookie pattern would sound something like this. If you give a mouse a cookie, he's going to ask for a glass of milk. If you give a mouse a glass of milk, he's going to ask for a napkin to wipe off the milk mustache. You can tell I've read the book. But those are kind of good books, or those types of books that will help students, one, orally, because they can actually read it next, or at least predict what's going to happen next. And they can even read the story to you because of the easy pattern. And on top of that, you can then ask them, hey, before we continue on, I want you to write out your own version of this type of reading pattern, or what you think is going to happen next. So in this case, as a teacher, we'll have to explain like the pattern ritual. So this is probably where you're going to tell the students to have your listening ears on, because now I want you to listen to the pattern as I'm reading throughout the story of Brown Bear, okay? And then obviously you read Brown Bear, what do you see? I see flamingo looking at me. Flamingo, what do you see? So, and that goes on and on and on. And then you can also change it up by inserting students' names into, like, let's say, we'll use my name. Amanda, what do you see? And then have the student actually respond back with the same responding pattern, which is, I see Mrs. Guerrera staring at me, or pointing at me, something like that. And then the students can then answer back, Mrs. Guerrera, what do you see? And obviously the teacher, Mrs. Guerrera, could say, I see Alexander looking at me. And then obviously now it's like a game, but now we're getting the students introduced to the pattern. So then after you do this game, this respond and answer type pattern, then the students you can then ask the students to write out the pattern in their own words. So this is where we then come back to the writing workshop, where the teacher will give an example of what they want, what the students should be writing out on their paper. Okay, this is what I'm expecting you to do. You're going to write out your writing pattern like this. So in this case, we'll use my name, Miss Fernandez. What do you see? And then I'm going to respond to this question by saying, I see white ducks flying through a stream, or something like that. It doesn't have to be super, well, actually no, in this case it's probably going to be rhyming, but again, this is kind of, I think what I'm trying to point out is oral and written expression coincides with each other, and it's an actual it's actually a great opportunity to get the students to introduced into different forms of writing, like writing out rhyming words and stuff like that. Poems and poetry, and why some poems are rhyming versus while others don't rhyme, even though these aren't poems, these are books. But still, hopefully I'm kind of making sense. But in any case, this is kind of what I want to point out. Use predictable books and pattern books, because one, the students already know what's going to be happening on the next page, but two, you can now incorporate a writing assessment. So whether that's them writing out a prediction, okay, what do you think the mouse is going to ask for next? Or on the next 2 pages, or if we were to write out, Miss Fernandez, what do you see? What do you think Miss Fernandez is going to see? So you can do it like that, or have the students write out their own patterns, like, okay, I want you to go to your desks, and I want you to use this pattern segment. Your name, what do you see? And then you're going to write out your answer. I see a whatever it is looking at me. And you know what? To help the students out, I would highly suggest maybe writing out sentence segments. I would say sentence starters, but most of these aren't really sentence starters, but sentence segments, so they know what the pattern's going to look like, and how they'll respond to it. So I guess just to kind of show you what I'm trying to what teachers should be modeling, or you as a teacher should be modeling, is, excuse me, I'm stretching out here. That one is, so let's say I'm using the brown bear segment. So I would put so I would have the students, so I would emphasize this. So the blanks is where you're going to put your first name. So first name. Okay, students? So in my case, it'd be Amanda, what do you see? And you're going to end this sentence with a question mark, because we are asking ourselves a question, okay? Or we're asking someone a question, so we're going to put a question mark. And then you are going to answer this question by saying, I see a, and you're going to write whatever it is you see here, whether it's another person or an animal. So here, I'll write out examples that you can put in here. So animal, a person, I don't know, maybe a building. I don't know if a building would work, but etc. So students can put whatever they see in this sentence, and then or it's probably better to use an animal, actually. You know what, in this case, we'll just say they have to write an animal. So I see and whatever animal it is that is their favorite, looking at me. I'm writing it with a period because now we're answering the question. It's a statement. Alright? So that's kind of what it might look like if we are explaining what we want the students to write. Sorry, over there, my handwriting is terrible. But and then obviously then we could show an example of this by saying, again, we'll use my first name. So Amanda. What do you see? then I will respond, I see a alligator looking at me. And then once you're done modeling this for your students, obviously I probably wouldn't use my first name, I'll probably use my last name. But still, once we're done modeling for students what it would look like, then obviously then I would send them off and go, okay, now you're going to write it on your own, and then after, we're going to share it, what you responded to with the entire class, and you're going to read the entire, your entire writing. So, Amanda, what do you see? I see an alligator looking at me, or sorry, excuse me, or Brandon, what do you see? I see a penguin looking at me, something like that. So it's simple, it's repetitive, but it works and it helps students with writing. And you can introduce them to different quotation marks and emphasize on, hey, at the beginning of a sentence, you need to be capitalizing your words. So there's multiple things that you can actually be doing while you're having them practice their oral language as well. Other than that, that is one way, or actually there's probably more. Yeah, you know what, this is one way I think would best improve oral and written expression with the students. Other than that, I hope this video was helpful. Excuse my rambling sometimes. But I hope this video was helpful and insightful. Hopefully I answered the question really well, and you guys have a great rest of your day and week, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!